Today we're going to be talking about dividing two decimals, which is our final skill in Unit 12. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to set up and perform division with two decimals to find the quotient. You'll know you have it when you can calculate the correct quotient with confidence. Vocabulary for today is knowing that a decimal is a number that represents a whole and a fraction with the decimal point in the middle. And then knowing that place value is the value of a digit within the number. When we divide decimals, we're going to follow these steps. The first one being moving our decimal in the divisor to make it a whole number. So when I set up my division problem, I'm going to set it up like I would if I was dividing whole numbers. To start, before I do my math though, I want to make sure that my divisor, which is on the outside, is a whole number. I'm going to find the decimal point within my divisor and I'm going to move it to the very end of my number in order to make it a whole number. However, because I'm moving the decimal in my divisor, whatever I do to the outside, I also have to do to the inside. So if I move my decimal once in my divisor, I also have to move it once in my dividend. If I move it twice in my divisor, I also have to move it twice in my dividend. Once I have my new places for my decimal, then that's when I'm going to proceed like I am dividing whole numbers. I'm going to ignore that decimal. I'm going to forget that it's there, and I'm going to do the math like I would any other division problem. So once I do that, I multiply, I subtract, I regroup, and I do that until I hit 0. Once I hit 0, I know that I can't do any more math, and whatever I have left on top, that's going to be part of my quotient. However, my quotient is not complete yet. My final step when I'm dividing decimals is placing my decimal in its appropriate spot. So that means that I need to figure out where my decimal goes. Very simple when we're dividing. Wherever my decimal has landed in my dividend, I'm going to drag it all the way up into my answer, and wherever that lands is where that decimal goes. So let's see this in practice. I have 1.56 divided by 0.3. So the first thing I want to do is I want to set it up. My dividend, which is my first factor, is going to go in my division house. Actually, it goes in my division house, 1.56. And my divisor, which is my second factor, is going to go on the outside of my division house. Now, according to my steps here, the first thing I need to do is make my divisor a whole number. So that means that I need to pull my decimal point over all the way to the right. Because I pulled it once, I have to do the same thing to my dividend on the inside. So it creates the new problem. 3 is my divisor on the outside, and then 15.6 as my dividend on the inside. Once my divisor is a whole number and I've moved my decimal on the inside, I've created my new problem, I'm going to go ahead and divide this like I would any whole number. So that means I'm going to look and see, all right, how many times can 3 go into 15? Or 3 goes into 1, it can't go into 1. So I'm going to add another digit onto it. 3 can go into 15 though. I know 3 times 5 is 15. Multiply that and then bring it down, subtract it, and then bring down what's left. 3 can go into 6. How many times? Well, I know 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract that, I have 0, and then I have nothing left to bring down, which leaves that final step at 0. I know I've reached my digits that are going to be my quotient. Now it's time for me to bring my decimal point up. So I'm going to find where my decimal point is, bring it straight up into my answer to line it up. Once I do that, I know my quotient is complete, leaving me with a quotient of 5 2/10 as my answer. So we will be working on dividing 2 decimals all week this week. It is a tricky skill, but it's going to be something that we're going to be pulling into future units. So we definitely want to get comfortable with it. My suggestion is always taking down notes in a math notebook, printing off this anchor chart or writing it down so that way you have it handy until you become really comfortable with this. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. And then I will see you guys in class this week.